Common Knowledge Podcast, just a man doing the best he can with what he got. We're entering the 4th week of the government shutdown at the time of this recording. And the looming question about this shutdown is, what can we cut? How can we balance the budget? This shutdown is about the budget. And I'm going to be honest, America does have a debt problem. We really do. Now, a lot of comps have been made to Greece, and that's kind of alarmist, guys. We are not Greece. Greece was never the default currency around the world. We got more things going for us than Greece had going for them. But there is a problem with our debt, and basically, we are spending more than we make. America, America makes its money from taxes. That's how America gets its revenue. So if the government doesn't have enough money, it's because we don't have enough tax revenues coming into America. That's what it is. So we're spending more than we're making, and we're not getting enough tax revenue to cover what we're spending. That's our problem. And if it gets to the point that our debt spending overtakes our income that we're taking in from taxes, then it's going to collapse, because most of the money that we're going to be spending is going to go to interest on our debt. That's why they got like a magical number. We're already over 100%, but I think the number is like 150. Once we get over 150, it's collapse time. And we keep inching and inching up to that every year by increasing the debt ceiling. So this is actually a legit argument that people make when they say, hey, man, we can't just keep raising the debt ceiling. We got to start paying down some of this national debt. And a lot of y'all are saying, well, that doesn't matter, man, because we can just print out more money. We got our own World Bank and we can just print out more money. The problem with that is, if you keep on printing out more money, that devalues the money that's already out there. So that's an inflationary measure. So if you're saying right now, man, our national debt's too high, just print out more money. That dollar you got right now becomes a little bit less valuable. And that really affects me personally, because I'm investing in what are called treasury bonds. You see, the government actually makes loans, right? They borrow money from the people, like anybody, from countries or people. You can actually get a bond from the U.S. government. And what that bond is basically saying, what the U.S. government is saying is basically, if you give me a certain amount of money, I will give you a percentage on it every year until I pay it back. And those are seen as safe and secure because we have been the world power and we always pay our debts. But once again, if other countries are buying up all these American bonds, I don't know, somebody like China or Japan who owns most of our bonds, if they just say tomorrow that, hey, man, I don't even trust you guys. I don't even want to be in business with America no more. Give me my money back. They just call in their debts. That could potentially collapse us. So we do need to talk about debt. When we talk about debt in America, we usually frame it in the sense of givers and takers. There are people out here taking money, just wasting it. And that's why America cannot get back on its feet, because all these damn takers. We need more doers, more producers. And historically, that's what we have used these debt ceiling and budget debates to talk about. Primarily, it's been the right, if we're being honest. Like, historically, the right has been more fiscally conscious. I'm sorry, let me correct that. Has claimed to be more fiscally responsible while actually raising most of the debt in America. Don't get mad at me. Look at the numbers, guys. Debt skyrockets under Republicans. That ain't me making it up. Them just the numbers. And this current shutdown is under the guise of the same thing. What Republicans claim they want is spending cuts and fiscal restraint. They claim they want to reform tax codes. They want broader security for immigration and immigration enforcement. And the Democrat side saying, hey, man, they want more subsidies for the ACA. And the Republican side is saying, we can't do that, man, because we got wasteful spending and that's going to cost too much. And we're going to find a way to get it solvent. But hey, we can't do it right now. We got to balance the budget. We got to cut out wasteful spending. Which got me to thinking, man, what are we going to do about all these welfare queens? And there is a lot of welfare queens in America. There are a lot of welfare queens sucking on the teat of Uncle Sugar. Now, when we think about welfare queens, we think about the stereotypical Reagan welfare queen, about like the person of color with mink coats, eating lobster at home, scamming the system. But oh, no, no, no. There are much bigger welfare queens in America that we need to address. And these welfare queens have been like raking us over the coals, and we gotta call them out right now. And look, man, if you want to make the argument that people on SNAP shouldn't get a candy bar and a soda, all right, cool. If you think that's gonna cut down costs and make us fiscally solvent for the next 3 years, cool. But we also gotta address the other welfare queens. And we're gonna make a list of all of them, but we're gonna start off number one, and that's American farmers. These folks are basically corporate welfare recipients disguised as food security. Every year, taxpayers hand out $20 to $40 billion to farmers, mostly large farms, and we never get that money back. Poof, gone. 40 billion down the drain every year to farmers. These aren't loans. They're just free checks. Farm subsidies going to farmers. Crop insurance alone loses billions because the government covers most of it. That is not capitalism. That is, say it with me, guys, socialism. This is socialism for the rich. This is not full-body capitalism. This is socialism. The government is propping up these farms. If you, in real capitalism, if you can't cover the cost, you go out of business. But, much like the banks, the government had decided that the farms are too big to fail. The profits are private, but the losses are socialized. Like, the farmers are not out here giving you subsidy checks. They're not out here giving you coupons for food, but your tax dollars are helping them pay for producing that wheat, those soybeans, that corn. Your tax dollars are paying for that. All the profits are private, but all the risk is socialized. If you want a true free market, we got to stop paying billions of dollars to farmers to stay in business while preaching capitalism to everybody else. What is it? Are we capitalists? Are we socialists? Or we're somewhere in between? I will argue we're somewhere in between. If we're somewhere in between, then it really just matters about what you're spending your money on. Right? What are you spending your money on? Because farmers hire the most undocumented workers in America. Farmers. It's kind of hard to see how much profits that the farm industry is getting from undocumented workers, but we know that they are exploiting those workers, and they're using that to keep the costs down so they can increase their profit margin. That we do know. So looking at relevant statistics, in a case study of intensified ICE raids in Oxnard, California's agricultural region estimates 3 to 7 billion in crop losses in a large agricultural economy. So because of these ICE raids, farms have lost close to $3 to $7 billion in crop losses. Now let's ask the obvious question, man. Why are all these farms hiring undocumented workers, knowing that they're quote unquote illegal by the standards of some of you guys? Why would you hire illegals? And the obvious answer is because you're exploiting their wages. You can pay those people less than what they're worth, and that in turn increases your profit, and you can sell your crops for a lower price. It's a wink, wink, nudge, nudge type situation. The only problem is all these farmers voted for Trump. They voted for increased ICE raids to get, quote unquote, the illegals out, which I have like so many problems with that terminology. Nobody's illegal. Undocumented is the term. But since they're getting all these undocumented workers now from your farm, guess what's happening? The block of Americans that overwhelmingly voted for Trump and overwhelmingly voted for him to deport all the quote unquote illegals are now the same people Trump is talking about bailing out right now. That's right. Because of Trump's tariffs, he's considering giving at least, most likely it's going to be more, but at least $10 billion as a bailout from the trade war he started. But student loans, oh, you can't get those handouts. Nah, you should have thought about it. But farmers, hey man, here you go $10 billion. But if you went to school, the hell with that. You need to take personal responsibility. But if you decide to be a farmer, here go this free money. Take it. Take it. So it's about what we're spending our money on. What do you think our money is worth? Have you ever noticed how America loves to preach capitalism, but the whole pull yourself up by your bootstrap, no handouts until it comes to farmers? Then suddenly it's socialism with cowboy boots and cowboy hats. Every year we hand them folks out $20 to $40 billion. But here's the kicker. I just laid all that out to you, but to be honest, I agree with giving the farmers subsidies. I really do. Now, we can argue whether it should be $20 to $40 billion, but I do think you should give these folks subsidies. Just like I think we should be giving subsidies to Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, the ACA, unemployment insurance, SNAP benefits, SSI, which is supplemental security insurance, housing assistance for HUD, WIC, and the child tax credit. I believe we should be giving subsidies to all of that. The question is, how much are we going to give? Right now, the most expensive thing in the American budget is Social Security. It's old people, man. Like, old people cost us the most money in America. But guess who votes the most in America? Old people. That's why you can't get no reform to Social Security, man. Like, if it wasn't for Social Security, there'd be so many people in poverty right now in America, which shows a problem about how we do this capitalism in America. If Social Security went away, a large swath of old people would just die. Their kids couldn't take care of them if we got rid of Social Security. The same thing with Medicare. We talk about Medicare, but anybody over 65 who got Medicare ain't talking about giving that junk away. Anybody in Congress ain't talking about, hey man, take away my Medicare or my Medicaid. The Affordable Care Act. Right now, you got Marjorie Taylor Greene fighting for them subsidies because she knows that her constituents in Georgia are going to be screwed if they don't have those subsidies. So subsidies are not necessarily a bad thing. It's just, once again, we spend it when people on the bottom, who are usually poor and people of color, get these subsidies as somehow not being earned. But none of these people are quote unquote earning these subsidies. They're not. It just all depends on how we look at those people getting those subsidies and if we deem them worthy. Like, this whole shutdown has shown that we use tribalism to stop from getting the people what they really need. Right now, one of the main lies about the ACA and the subsidies that are being fought to be kept in is that, hey, if we do these ACA subsidies, then illegal immigrants, undocumented workers are going to get benefit. They never said that, hey, these undocumented workers are going to get more benefits than you Americans. They never said that. Like, nobody has said that. So then the question is, hey, if these undocumented workers get benefits and not as much as you, what's the problem with them getting benefits at all if it's going to lower your cost? Like, they literally have tricked people into doing without, hurting themselves, all in the name of stopping people who they really don't care about from getting anything. And that's what we do with subsidies. Because right now, Trump is talking about giving these folks a bailout. But when it came to student loans, man, everybody's like, no, we can't do that. They were irresponsible. You should have picked better. Why aren't you saying that to farmers? Just something to think about. Just something to think about. But we got a whole lot of welfare queens, and I didn't even talk about the foreign welfare queens. We give Israel $6 billion a year. A year. But that's another podcast. All right, so real talk. I am old enough now to see history for what it is, and actually, recent history to speak on it and see how it affected me. And the biggest innovation in America since I've been alive has been the internet. Like the internet has really revolutionized how we do things in America, our ability to do business, our ability to open up small businesses and to actually market that business and ship products across the world. The internet did it for us. Thank you, Al Gore. But there is a crisis coming our way that we really need to talk about. And it's been alluded to, but we're not taking it serious. And that is AI. So AI right now, for the lack of better words, we don't know what AI does right now. I mean, we can explain it, we can say what it does, but it's kind of this amorphous thing that people are just using to boost their stock evaluations and their IPO prices. Like the person who figures out a way to integrate AI into your everyday life to the point you use it every day is really going to make a lot of money off of it. When somebody finds that real life application that is used every damn day that we can't do without, much like the internet, that's when AI is really going to take off. But it's not really there in application in a lot of fields yet, except one field, and that is entertainment. In the entertainment field, AI is showing its true colors, and it's going to be a problem for all of us. Movie production and music production. This AI is going to be a problem. For all intents and purposes, AI is a better Google search engine for most people. That's like the real life application. It's a good researching tool, but we're getting into different areas now where we are talking about AI companions and we're talking about AI think tanks who can actually talk to elderly people and keep them company and entertain them. Man, we really need to talk about it, man. I see a crisis coming up. A whole industry is going to collapse and people are going to be out of jobs. We have devalued entertainment so damn much to the point I don't know if it can be saved, but one of the main reasons is technology. Technology has made it easier for people to make content that used to be considered art. Art was valuable. There was a premium on art. It was commissioned by churches and rich people to get paintings done. And then that went to the camera. And then it went from photos to now just having a computer generate that whole thing for you. So it switched from art being super valuable to being what we call now just content. And content doesn't have that value because it's already available. Like it's just right in front of you. Bam, 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 bam. New stuff is hitting your sensory lobes every 15 to 30 seconds. And that is not necessarily a good thing, guys. And I will use this example from the early 2000s. Around the early 2000s, objectively, there was an influx of whack music. And the reason why we had more whack music is because it was easier for folks to make music because in part, technology, the cost of the technology had came down. It was cheaper to make music. Before, you had to really be dedicated to the process of making music, which was in itself a form of gatekeeping. You had to be really connected and believe in your product and in your art form to actually go out and venture into this. But this led to the collapse of the music industry in general. This led to Spotify only charging 0.003 cents a song And that same thing is about to happen to the movie industry right now. Like the movie industry is in that same position that I saw the music industry go in. And let me explain. And this is for independent artists back in the day. If you was on a major label, these like 10x these prices. Like seriously, these prices go up 10x. Back in the day, in order to make an album, you had to go to a studio. Now, that studio would charge you sometimes between $500 to $800 an hour because of scarcity. It was hard to get that recording equipment. We had tapes and reel to reel and ADAC players, and that cost a whole lot of money, which led to us getting home studios. Like home studios became a thing because it cost a lot of money. But even at the home studio level, only thing we could afford was like 4 tracks. Go look that up. I'm not going to explain that to you, maybe in a later podcast. But what happened was computers became more affordable, and that gave birth to digital audio workstations. So it became cheaper. And because it became cheaper, you saw more studios opening up, and that lowered the price to record. Like there still was a barrier because you had to buy all this equipment, but equipment became cheaper, so more studios were available that lowered the price to artists. A slight devaluing. And that studio charged you anywhere between $50 to $150 an hour. You had to like get that money up. It generally took about maybe to make an album about 20 to 40 hours to make an album. Then you had to pay to get it mixed, which was anywhere between an hour, $100 an hour, and mastered, which could cost you anywhere between $200 to $500. Then after that, you had to actually press up the CDs. So you had to find a distributor and pay them to press up your CDs and to press up and print the album cover and CDs for 100 CDs. 100 CDs, it would cost you like $500. So now you got to put that into your margin. And like with anything, man, the more CDs you bought, the lower the price got, man. So the sweet spot was buying like 500 to 1,000, right? To make it manageable so you can get your money back. Now after that, hopefully that distributor had connections to record stores and they could put it out there in the stores for you. But 9 out of 10, they didn't do that or they charged extra for that. So then you did what was called consignment. If that didn't happen, you had to take your product and go to stores hand to hand and do consignment, where you actually like put the product in yourself, say, hey man, I'm gonna drop off these albums to you, sell them for $10. I'll give you $3 off every album, and I'll come back. Then led to the obvious question is, how are you gonna get people to know about these albums in this store? So now you gotta get a marketing budget. You gotta put together that marketing budget and a street team of people out here to try to get that product off. That is how you put out an album in the early 2000s. What happened? Well, damn it, the internet came along, technology came along, made it cheaper to produce that music. So whereas I had to do all that before, all thing I needed now is a home studio, Cakewalk, or Magix, which turned into Logix Pro, and now I can record all them tracks myself. The MPC made it so I can make beats at home myself. MIDI keyboard technology, native instruments made it so that it didn't take all that to make a song. Music became digital. I don't even have to press out CDs no more. From the rooter to the tutor, man, I can make a song right now today called Stinky Bloku Nuts and have that bitch out in 4 days. That's what made music whack. It was technology, man. Now, there was no gatekeeping. Anybody can do it. I'm going to be honest with you guys. Sometimes you need gatekeeping. Gatekeeping is not necessarily a bad thing. But when it became cheap to make music, everybody started making it. Before, you had to be dead ass serious to make an album. You had to really be dedicated to it, and you had to invest in it. Right now, the investments is minimal. Everybody can do it. So if everybody can do it, it becomes devalued. And that's what's happening to the movie business now with Sora. I think it's over for the movie business as we know it. It's going to be a big ass hit. And the problem with me saying this right now is a lot of y'all don't care because y'all hate entertainers. For some reason, when we think of entertainers, we think about the top 1%. We think about your Al Pacinos, your Robert De Niro's, all the folks flashing this money, but that's not what I think about, man. There's a whole hidden economy connected to movies. And I'm saying this as an actor who's been on set. When I think about the movie economy, I think about caterers, sprinter van drivers, makeup artists, hairdressers, costume designers, set designers. These are all things that Sora has the potential to take away. AI can kill this right now. So we really need to think about these workers we're gonna lose. But the problem is me saying that is making a lot of y'all mad because of the lie we tell people growing up that you should chase your dreams. Like people think that acting is a dream job, but it's a job that a privileged few can actually make a lot of money off of. A majority of actors out here are only making like maybe $60,000 to $80,000 a year. But we tell people to chase their dreams, and everybody who chase their dreams and they don't catch it, they kind of get bitter at people who did catch their dreams. Which is why I say don't chase your dreams, live your dreams. Like you can live your dreams without chasing them. But it's the chasing the rat race that makes people bitter. And when I bring up all these economic factors, make people mad and not think about it. Like I never forget in Japan, my full-time gig was acting. I had part-time jobs. My full-time gig was acting. But when I used to say I was an actor, people would look at me, oh, well, how much money you make? Oh, I don't know who you are. Why don't I know you? I'm like, yo, what? That's stupid as hell. You don't go to a truck driver and be like, hey, man, I never heard of you driving trucks, so I guess you're not a truck driver. You don't do that. No other field do people do that or give you that unrealistic standard. But I get it, right? Because entertainment works on visibility. I'm here to tell you guys, this work, bro. Like being on set is work. I'm not saying it's the same thing as being in a factory. I'm not disparaging that. I'm not saying it's the same thing as picking strawberries in the field. I know it's different levels to it, but it's still work. Like what Andre 3000 say, if you don't move your feet, then I don't eat. So we like neck to neck. Like I am still an actor. I still have gigs. Some of y'all gonna ask, well, what was your last acting gig? It was actually 3 weeks ago. I was a doctor. What's up to my homie Kino? Marquino Mod Productions. Thank you, man. I was a doctor in that in that movie. I saw this during the time of the SAG actor strike. I was lucky enough to be a working actor during that strike. I had to sign paperwork and everything, but I was with SAG, but I felt like they were going after the wrong target. I felt like instead of going after the usual suspects, they should have been looking at AI and trying to find a way to copyright anybody's identity and connect that to AI and find a way to get revenues from that. Because look, man, if you telling me right now you can make a digital actor, well, hell, not just a digital actor, but a whole movie digitally and make it look real, oh, bro, it's over. Everything's a video game at that point. What are we doing? And we got to start thinking about what we're going to do about these jobs that's not coming back, man, because them biscuits ain't getting back in the can because you people ain't going to make a stand. Like, if I'm asking the consumer to take a stand with the actors, y'all not going to do that. You're not. Like, people are looking for the easiest, most convenient way to be entertained. Like, if Netflix raised their prices $5, y'all going to complain. So some of these jobs are gone. Maybe y'all saying, hey, man, it's just over for the actor. What are we going to do to replace those jobs? Right now, you got people in the industry that is going to be hurting. Not just the actors, but people connected to the whole movie industry that's going to be hurting. What are we going to do for those people? You may say they need new jobs. What kind of jobs? How are we going to retrain them? What are we going to start advertising? How are we going to present these jobs to them? What are we going to do? So it's not easy, man. It's just you guys don't think it's real work. So then I got to ask, like, what is a job to anybody? Because I laid out all these things we need to do to protect the film industry. But a lot of y'all just saying, whatever, dog, let it collapse. But for some reason, y'all gonna be okay giving the soybean farmers Billions of dollars every year. Crazy, huh? Yo, real talk, I had a whole section of my podcast today dedicated to the guard being in Memphis and how much it was going to cost, and some of the crime stats and reports I have heard from talking to law enforcement in the Memphis area. But I'm holding off on that. And the reason I'm holding up on that, because I got more information coming down and I want to get some statistics right before I present that information. Because unlike a lot of podcasts, I like to make sure what I'm doing is correct and I'm giving you guys the best information that I have. So I'm going to hold off for another week or two until I get that information. But just know, man, that this occupation of the National Guard here in Memphis has been a weird one, because everything I said was going to happen is happening. It's window dressing. These folks are not even really out doing anything. It's literally free money. And as I talked about welfare queens, I would dare not call our military welfare queens, but this is a waste of government money to have these. Like, these folks aren't really doing anything. This is money that could have been going other places. But I'll also say, since I've been here in Memphis, it hasn't been all doom and gloom for like the National Guard. A lot of folks are actually for it. But okay, let me take it back. They're not for the National Guard, but they're for an increased police presence in Memphis. And not to spill the beans, from what I have seen and all reports indicate that the arrest that this special task force is making is right along the same lines of what the Memphis Police Department usually makes. And most of the stops are traffic stops, which I will say, traffic is a big problem in Memphis. Like, we have the worst drivers in America, which does raise insurance rates. So if you can get like more crazy drivers off the streets, I'm for it. But you didn't need to bring in a National Guard for that. But I will have a more detailed report coming up in the next few weeks once I get everything laid out for you guys. But that's coming out of this podcast, updated weekly. Thank you guys for all the support, man. Like, share, subscribe, all that good crap. That's right. And holler at you guys later. Peace.